He has just one special thing. It's a boxing. That's all. It's not boxing. It's MMA. And even the striking, better than him for sure, because my kicks.
They have one common opponent so far, which is Charles Oliveira, and wildly different matches. So I think that's going to steer, right? When you don't have head-to-head competition, you must fall to common opponent.
He's got to fight me to get back in the mix and to get a title shot. And that's always the fight I want. And not because he's a prick and I hate him, but because I genuinely think that he's the hardest fight. And all those big name guys have like an excuse to not fight him because I think he is the best.
Arman Tsarukyan demands his shot at UFC Gold, vowing to snatch the crown from Ilia Topuria or Islam Makhachev. Building on his title ambitions, Arman Tsarukyan emphasizes that a fight with Ilia Topuria is the essential next step. He consistently highlights his status as the top contender, positioning himself as the rightful challenger for the championship. Self-assured and clear, Tsarukyan asserts that the UFC belt is already his, and that it is just a matter of time before he secures it.
I deserve it. I'm #1 contender, and they gotta give me this fight because I'm the next, and the next UFC champion. It's my belt. He has just one special thing. It's a boxing. That's all. It's not boxing. It's MMA. And even the striking, better than him for sure, because my kicks, my elbows, my knees work all those, and he does just good boxing. They can wrestle as well, so I just can't wait, to show everybody like what's my level, because I've been proving.
Continuing his confident push for a title shot, Arman Tsarukyan says he's eager to prove his true level. He emphasizes the work he puts in every day, improving and preparing, while noting that he has been out of action for some time. Tsarukyan insists he cannot wait to show the UFC and the fans exactly where his skills stand right now.
I just can't wait, to show everybody like what's my level, because I've been proving myself every day and working hard, and I haven't fought a long time, and I just can't wait to show everybody what's my level right now. I'm gonna defend as much as possible. I wanna be the greatest fighter in the world, because I know how I work, how I dedicate for this sport, and I know I gotta be the best in this sport, because I love it so much, and I give myself to this sport, and it's gotta pay off.
In addition, Arman Tsarukyan stated that even from an MMA fan's perspective, his fight with Ilia Topuria is the one to make. He says they are the two best fighters in the division, and the only way to settle it is to step into the cage and find out who truly stands at the top.
About this right now.
I feel same. I want to see that fight even like a fan. If I was a fan, I would like to see that fight, because we are the best in our division, and we gotta fight and see who is the.
However, Lucas Tracy offered his analysis on Arman Tsarukyan, highlighting his elite grappling as a key strength. He acknowledges that Tsarukyan is a skilled striker capable of outstriking much of his competition, and he praises his ground and pound as some of the best in MMA. However, Tracy noted that while Tsarukyan is well-rounded, striking is not yet at an elite level.
And I'm going to put Arman in the same tier as Oliveira. He's got elite grappling, but I wouldn't say he's an elite striker. He's a good striker, okay? And he can compete at the highest level, and he can, do okay on the feet. He's got great kicks, okay? Does he have great boxing? I don't think his boxing is that great, but his kicking game is pretty good, pretty solid. Overall, a good striker. He does have the ability to go out and outstrike people on the feet, just not the best strikers in his division. And of course, we know that his grappling is just relentless. He's got some of the best ground and pound in MMA, phenomenal wrestling, good control, again, good kicking game. He's very well-rounded, but he's not elite on the feet, okay? Mateus.
Building on the discussion, Chael Sonnen weighed in on the comparison between Topuria and Tsarukyan, pointing out that both have faced Charles Oliveira. He highlights that their matches against Oliveira were very different, showing contrasting styles and challenges. Sonnen adds that matchup-wise, Tsarukyan presents the toughest challenge for Topuria, but despite this, he predicts that if the fight is made, Topuria would enter as the favorite.
They have one common opponent so far, which is Charles Oliveira, and wildly different matches. So I think that that's going to steer. Right, when you don't have head-to-head competition, you must fall to common opponent. So I would understand where Ilia is going to be the favorite, but matchup-wise, the hardest match for Ilia is Arman Tsarukyan. So as this thing gets a little closer, maybe allow me to come back and give you an actual prediction. I think that the world would lean towards Topuria right now. He's just the flavor. He's hot. He's undefeated. He's the champion of the world. Should be 2 division champion and BMF champion linear wise. But boy, Tsarukyan gets his hands on you, you got a problem.
Adding fuel to the fire, Bear Digidio noted how the hype around Ilia Topuria almost always centers on his striking, with fans treating him like a one-of-a-kind phenomenon. But Digidio pushes back on that narrative, arguing that Tsarukyan is just as special. He pointed to Tsarukyan's dangerous mix of skills, from slick submissions and tight chokes to crisp stand-up, making him one of the most complete fighters in the division.
Everybody talks about Ilia striking. Everybody says that Ilia is something they've never seen before. But I feel you're the same way. You have striking, you have ground game, you have wrestling, you have kicking, you have everything it takes to out-counter everything Ilia throws at you.
Interestingly, Dan Hooker adds his perspective, calling Arman a walking bag of sand while still recognizing him as a very skilled fighter. Hooker points out that many of the big-name fighters, including Ilia Topuria, find reasons to avoid facing him. He reveals that the UFC wants Tsarukyan to fight again, and he hopes that the matchup will be with him.
He's stuck fighting me, brother. He's got to fight me to get back in the mix and to get a title shot. And that's always the fight I want. And not because he's a prick and I hate him, but because I genuinely think that he's the hardest fight, and all those big name guys have like an excuse to not fight him, because I think he is the best at winning fights. Like, he's not necessarily the most dangerous fighter. Like, Oliver is very dangerous, Gage is very dangerous. I think he's the best at winning fights, and so a lot of these guys have a justifiable reason to avoid fighting him.
Moreover, Dan states that Tsarukyan is the best in the game when it comes to winning fights. He praises Tsarukyan's ability to control opponents and compares him to Mateusz Gamrot, describing him as an orthodox version of the Polish contender. Hooker makes it clear that in his view, Tsarukyan is a very dangerous and highly skilled fighter.
Yeah, he's the best at winning fights, for sure, obviously. But Arman's very good at controlling guys. He's very quite similar to Gamrot, like an orthodox version of Gamrot. So he's a very good fighter. He's a very good fighter. Take the man out of it, because obviously when you're preparing for a fight, like, all of that shit's irrelevant. At the end of the day, I never get emotional. I never get emotional about any kind of fight when there's no room for emotions in fighting. I've gone through every single emotion you could possibly experience in a fist fight: angry, sad.
Furthermore, Dan Hooker challenges the MMA world to name a single fighter other than himself who has publicly called out Arman Tsarukyan. He frames himself as the only one willing to step up, adding that if Tsarukyan beats him, it would put Arman right back in the thick of the title conversation.
Fight. Like, you could be calling for something
Who
else.
else has called out Arman? Name a single fighter like that makes sense. What, Gamrot? He's coming off a loss, you know what? But I'm the only guy that makes sense that's called his name. Like, the champion said that he's not going to fight him. No one else has spoken his name. He's the Voldemort of the lightweight division. No one wants to call the guy out, because he's a prick too. Because he's just gonna whine and not say anything witty. He's no fun. He's like arguing with a blank wall.
Looking ahead, Arman Tsarukyan tells Bear Digidio that once he finishes business with Ilia Topuria, his focus will shift to Islam Makhachev at 155 pounds. He positioned himself as ready to challenge the top fighters in the division, signaling that his ambition does not stop with one title fight.
You get the belt, you beat Ilia, you move up, you fight Islam. We get the fight.
I'll be waiting for him in the 155 division.
You wait for him to come back down.
Yeah.
Amazing.
In response, Arman Tsarukyan says that if the UFC does not offer him anyone else, he's willing to face Dan Hooker. However, he makes it clear that his primary focus remains the title fight, stressing that he deserves it as the #1 contender and that it is the matchup that makes the most sense right now.
Would that be a fight you'd take?
Yeah, if they're not gonna give me Ilia, I'll fight with Hooker. But my goal is title fight.
Okay.
And right now I'm just focusing on the title fight because I know I deserve it and I'm contender #1 and so that fight makes sense.
So if you had a message for Ilia in answer to his argument about the belt, what would your message to Ilia be?
Just give up the belt and let me fight for my belt.
Adding fuel to the fire, Arman Tsarukyan takes a jab at Ilia Topuria by mocking him while riding in his private jet. He further added that he would take Ilia down in the first round and just TKO him with ground and pound.
Good boy. Better than Ilia.
You haven't stopped.
I'm just going there, take him down, and just TKO him with my elbows and stop that fight.
First round, second round?
First round.
Furthermore, Arman Tsarukyan says the UFC has not given him any updates yet, and he is still waiting for the call. In the meantime, he makes it clear that he is staying ready and fully prepared, ensuring that whenever the opportunity comes, he will be in peak condition to take it.
They didn't tell anything yet to me, so I'm just still waiting, training, and trying to call out Ilia as much as possible. So, but I mean, he feels that he's gonna lose that fight, and it's better to give the belt and then like go up or like wait when what happened with me, because he knows just I'm a big problem for him, and I'm gonna get his title. He knows that, and he wants to get easy fight with Perry or Gage or with someone, just make money and to defend. But with me, it's gonna be hard for him.
We'll go first one.
Arman got it.
Time!
However, Paddy Pimblett criticized Arman Tsarukyan, implying that although other fighters in the division might be more deserving of a title shot, Tsarukyan isn't among them. He described Tsarukyan as a desperate individual and highlighted reports that Tsarukyan has been trying to buy a fight with Ilia Topuria.
But I understand that I am rank 9 or something, so other people probably are more deserving, but posh boy definitely isn't. Little rich boy Arman, showing how desperate he is, offering him £1 million to fight him. Spoiled, rich baby, trying to pay the way out of things. That's why he quit when he was making weight in a bath like a little... Arman's irrelevant, no one cares about him. As I always say, I've got nothing but respect for Justin, but I keep seeing in interviews him saying he doesn't want to fight me. I think the only fighter makes me and Ilia. Seen Dan Hooker talking shit the other day as well. I used to like Dan Hooker, now you can eat shit. That is me, people.
In response to those remarks, Arman Tsarukyan fires back with a sharp rebuke. He dismissed Pimblett as overrated and built in hype. He went on Twitter and wrote, "You're a nobody, a trash can at most. Daddy Dana fed you a couple of senior citizens to build your hype. That's all you are. Hype. I earned everything in my career. Nothing was handed to me, you bum. Now sit your goofy ass down and wait until Daddy tells you what to do." In addition, Rampage Jackson pointed out that even though Paddy Pimblett wants the title shot and confronted Ilia Topuria in the ring after the Charles Oliveira fight, the contender rankings and merit clearly favor Arman Tsarukyan. According to Jackson, Tsarukyan is the fighter who truly deserves a chance at the belt.
Arman is a beast, and a lot of people say that he's the man that can steal the belt away from Topuria, and I was like, wow, they gave him that much praise. I was like, wow, because Topuria is the man, but they said Arman is a beast.
Do you think he fights Ilia next?
I don't know. It looked like Patty the Batty is trying to get that fight too, though. So I don't know. I don't know what's gonna go on, but I think Arman deserves it though. From you know, him being the #1 contender and stuff in that way. I think Arman deserves it.
On the other hand, Kamaru Usman expressed surprise that Paddy Pimblett is even being considered for a title fight with Ilia Topuria. He emphasized that while the UFC excels in planning ahead and making strategic moves, its success ultimately stems from pitting the best fighters in the world against each other.
Is that something that they're being serious about, that they're thinking about doing?
Yeah, man. Remember we did that interview with Ali? Ali mentioned it.
Right.
He's like, this is what the UFC want to do. Remember that?
Yeah, I think, see, the one thing about the company, I think is, and I think this is smart, the company is always thinking, how are we rolling forward? 2 steps ahead. Okay, if this guy defeats that guy, who's next in line, who has put themselves in position to still give us a big fight and still. So if the company's thinking like that, I understand them thinking, okay, UK versus Spain, this is going to be a big one. They already got some type of issue later.
However, Geeke says Arman Tsarukyan is the rightful #1 contender, yet is being treated like an annoyance not only by Ilia Topuria, but by much of the lightweight division. He argues that Tsarukyan has every right to campaign for what should already be his.
So Arman Tsarukyan has officially begun his online harassment campaign against Ilia Topuria in order to get the next shot at the lightweight title, and I'm not gonna lie, I kinda like it. As much of a fan as I am of Ilia, pointing out his chronic Conor McGregor meat riding syndrome will always get a laugh out of me. And being that Arman is the rightful #1 contender that's currently being treated as some kind of a nuisance by not only Ilia, but seemingly the rest of the lightweight division as well, I think that he's fully entitled to campaigning for what's right.
While acknowledging that Tsarukyan made a mistake by pulling out of the title fight with Islam Makhachev, Geeke makes it clear that this does not justify giving a chance to Paddy Pimblett, a fighter barely in the top 10 who only competes once a year.
Sure, he messed up by pulling out of his fight against Islam Makhachev back in January, but that doesn't make Paddy Pimblett, who's barely in the top 10 and only fights once a year, the rightful successor. And when you take into account that Ilia already starts 2 out of the top 5 in Charles Oliveira and Max Holloway within the last year, the latter of which brutally knocked out the 3rd potential contender in Justin Gaethje in 2024, Arman being the next challenger is a no-brainer. And yet, we have guys like Dan Hooker, who hasn't fought anybody in the top 5 since 2021, confidently proclaiming that nobody except him will give Arman.
Additionally, the Weasel points out that while Arman Tsarukyan has been calling out everyone, he still gets criticized for not fighting anybody. In his view, the reality is that Tsarukyan is the one being avoided, yet the fighters ducking him face no backlash. He argues that if Tsarukyan had pulled out of a fight, the outrage would be loud. But when others avoided him, the criticism is nowhere to be found.
So as you can see, Arman has called out every single one of them. But Arman has gotten criticism for not fighting anybody ever since he pulled out against Islam. Not the other fighters who don't want to fight him. He's the one that's getting more criticism. Yeah, he is the one who's calling out all the top contenders to fight him. How can he fight anyone that makes sense when everyone that makes sense doesn't want to fight him? Like, I've seen some arguments, people say that he should fight Dariush and Moicano and fighters at the bottom of the rankings, and it's like, that doesn't make any sense. He's the #1 contender. He shouldn't have to fight guys that low in the rankings. Like, it's very different when fighters duck someone who's rising the rankings, right? Like when Shavkat was coming up, a lot of fighters didn't want to fight him. There was little to gain and a lot to lose fighting a rising contender that skilled. That is very different than being established as the #1 guy, and then nobody wants to fight you.
Building on that, the Weasel pointed out that Paddy Pimblett, ranked 9th, avoids Arman Tsarukyan. Instead, Pimblett targets a fight with Justin Gaethje, insisting Gaethje is a bigger fighter and repeatedly dismissing Tsarukyan as insignificant. The Weasel criticizes the absurdity of a 9th-ranked fighter refusing to face the top contender.
Anybody else. And even the #9 ranked fighter, Paddy Pimblett, said that he wants to fight Gaethje over Arman because no one cares about Arman anymore. And he has reiterated that multiple times, that Arman's not an exciting fight, nobody cares about Arman, he wants to fight Justin Gaethje. It is crazy that the #9 ranked doesn't care to fight the #1 contender, and instead is picking the easier fight in Justin Gaethje to get himself a title shot. Gaethje can't grapple Paddy, Arman can, and frankly, it just seems like everybody is ducking the toughest fight in the division. That is Arman Tsarukyan. Nobody wants to fight this guy, except Hooker and Holloway. Arman Tsarukyan is the #1 contender of this division, and the #1 contender should be fighting for the belt. Anything else does not represent the sport. If the best isn't fighting the best, then what are we even doing?
From calling out champions and dismantling critics to drawing praise from analysts and sparking heated debates among fighters, Tsarukyan has positioned himself at the center of lightweight and featherweight title talk. Whether the UFC answers his call with Ilia Topuria, Islam Makhachev, or another high-stakes showdown, one thing is clear. Arman's not content to wait quietly in line. With tensions boiling, rivals dodging, and the title picture heating up, the question now is simple. Who will step up to face Arman next? Drop your thoughts in the comment section below and let us know if you think Arman deserves that title shot. Make sure to stay tuned because this story is far from over.